Hot Sheet. I discuss America's cheapest states, a rating downgrade for the U.S., the latest jobs report, and mortgage demand. Today is Wednesday, August the 2nd, 2023. I am Byron Lazine, and the Hot Sheet starts now. All right, grateful to have you back here on the Hot Sheet. If you're returning, hit that thumbs up. It's how this video will get to more people. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We go live on the Hot Sheet. It's the only live daily housing show on the internet every single Monday through Friday, 9:30 on the East and 6:30 on the West. Let me know which market you're tuning in from, what's going on. Myrtle Beach, Las Vegas, it looks like, Wisconsin. What's happening? OKC and Sonoma. Was that Sonoma? Oh, Sonora. I miss Sonoma. I don't think I've been to Sonora. Maybe if I go to Sonora, I would be missing Sonora as well. Let's take a look at here's the story right now. Maybe we're going to start with the video. Then we'll go to the list that I have. I've got a list of America's 10 cheapest states to live for 2023. Why is it important for many people that might be moving and migrating within the country? Well, this is why affordability continues to be the crisis that we're faced with in the U.S. housing market. Logan Mohtashami from Housing Wire, he was on CNBC this morning talking about that. Let's play a portion of the clip. He was on for a couple of minutes, short little segment. Let's play a portion of that, and then I'll react and then get into the cheapest places to live, the opposite of this. Go ahead and play the clip, Bobby.
Good morning. And yes, mortgage rates are simply too high to create more growth in the housing market right now. Even though demand is no longer collapsing, we're not seeing much growth at all with rates near 7%.
Right. So I want to dig into some of the data that you actually sent us. Let's start off looking at new listings of single family homes. You shared some data comparing this year to last year and also to 2021. It shows inventory well below those years, but still ticking a bit higher year to date. How should we read this trend?
Well, new listings data has been trending at the lowest levels ever recorded in history for the last 12 months. As soon as mortgage rates got above 6%, so there's a certain group of homeowners that just will not move. Simply, they can't afford to move. Also, active listings are now negative year over year. So you combine those two together, you have a very tight supply and you have an affordability issue. And this is the main reason why existing home sales are still near 21st century lows today.
All right, so really interesting. So one of the charts we show, by the way, for the viewers who are trying to watch, the blue line is 2023.
Right. We need CNBC explaining the chart for us. So one thing that Logan said in there is that people want to move, they can't afford to move. Later on, before he signed off in the segment, Logan Mohtashami said he doesn't believe that people are holding on to this low mortgage rate. He believes it's that they just can't afford to move. So he doesn't believe in the golden handcuffs, the Cold War theory that I coined it, the lock-in theory that Fortune calls it. I would disagree with that. I'm going to put myself in a camp, right? I've got a place in Naples. I'm going to have a new place down there, and I'm going to keep my current place because of how low that interest rate is. Because of the low interest rate, I can go and rent that property out and do very well with it. So I think it's almost the same thing. The low interest rate is why they can afford, why homeowners can afford the amount of home that they own right now. So it's a kind of the same thing. I guess he's kind of a contrarian, so I guess he just wants to go against, the obvious to me there. But his general theme is absolutely right. That affordability is the biggest issue that we're faced with, and it's driving down inventory. It's driving down new listings. It's driving up opportunities for the building community, which I'll touch on in just a second. But there are some places in America that are still, quote unquote, affordable. In fact, here are the 10 cheapest states to live in for 2023. CNBC's America's Top States for Business study measures the cost of living in all of these 10 states. So there's a tie with Mississippi and Illinois for being, and Illinois surprised me, okay, because I know it's one of the top 3 taxed states in the country is Illinois. But cost of living score, 41 out of 50 for Illinois. Housing affordability score, 0.92 out of 2. Average home price in Illinois, 271,000. So pretty affordable there on the home price. Doesn't look like, I don't know how much of a factor that overall taxes are coming in, but they got Illinois in there tied with Mississippi. Missouri would be next on the list. Michigan after Missouri, then West Virginia, Oklahoma. I don't know if Jody's in the chat today. OKC, there you go, Oklahoma. Some of the numbers Jody shared with us have got Oklahoma, Ohio, and what's that? And yeah, everything's tied. In Indiana, Kansas. By the way, one of our lender partners, he's doing a cross-country trip right now, and he just flashed a picture of Kansas. Based off of the Facebook picture, no offense, Kansans, I'm sure Kansas is beautiful, but the one photo I saw on Facebook, can imagine why it's a cheap place. And then Iowa is number 1. Iowa's always in the news, obviously, for political reasons. So there you go. There's your 10 cheapest places. The average home price in all of those states was below. Kansas it actually was above 300,000. Everything else was below 300,000 in the 2s. So when you have an average home price in the 2s, that's a very attractive place to go buy real estate. If I'm thinking from an investor perspective, how do I take my commissions and start turning my commissions into potential retirement? I might be home shopping for, if I've got a great property management system, if I know some of these areas. I don't know these areas personally. But if I know these areas and I can manage the property, I might be shopping for single family home values there. It's just going to become harder and harder in the next decade, 2 decades, to build a $250,000 home anywhere, which I believe, these Midwestern states, the prices will drive up over time. Kansas and Mississippi, the only ones, and Mississippi average price was 397,000. So really everything's 300 or below. Kansas being a little bit higher than 300,000. The other opportunity I wouldn't call it affordable, but the other opportunity in the market right now, because of the lack of existing homes, the lack of new listings coming on, is the new construction market. This is why builders are getting aggressive. They're kind of cleaning up on the market right now because they're able to offer a lower interest rate. And it's also, here's one chart. I'll put this in the daily download down below. This is from John Burns. This kind of shows you how people are thinking about the next year with this inventory. They don't see signs of the inventory coming back on. Second quarter of 2023, national land market hotness, as recorded by John Burns Research and Consulting, LLC. Second quarter of 2023, they had 10% of land markets on absolute fire, and then 45% in the hot category, well above any period of the last 3 quarters prior, Q1 of 23 and the last 2 quarters of 22, and even above quarter 2 of 2022, not quite to the level of the 2020, 2021 market, but in the last 5 quarters, the highest measurement for national land market hotness. Okay, 40% of it is warm, and only 5% of national land markets are in the lukewarm or cold category. So John Burns says all of a sudden the land market is really, really hot because people, builders, developers, investors for real estate are looking to new construction to solve this inventory crisis. Not only are they looking to it, but Zillow and Redfin just announced a partnership to empower buyers and builders. This is on nowbam.com. You can get all of the details. Zillow and Redfin just announced a partnership that will help builders connect with motivated buyers on their platform with an increase in sales for new construction homes. We know new construction makes up 1/3 of the inventory right now, just thereabouts. The two competing platforms are coming together in a way that could incentivize builders. I don't really recall a Zillow Redfin partnership ever. So this might be the first one. Builders partnering with Zillow will begin to see their new listings syndicated to Redfin in the first quarter of 2023. So there's a huge popularity right now in new construction. Zillow's latest market report shows a 28% decrease in new listings in June 2023. We've been talking about on the hot sheet. We heard Logan say it on CNBC this morning. New listings are at the all-time low ever recorded here in 2023. So this partnership between Zillow and Redfin could incentivize builders to increase production, something the housing market desperately needs. Certainly that'll be the angle that Zillow's taken. We're helping the inventory crisis. Zillow provides a standout platform for home builders to highlight their communities and connect with potential buyers. Zillow's community pages in particular help buyers understand the benefits of new construction home and give builders a place to highlight all the amenities with a new build community. The partnership with Redfin extends this unique and valuable resource to a wider audience. It benefits home builders by expanding their reach to additional home buyers while empowering home shoppers to make confident and informed decisions regardless of where they choose to shop. That's the VP and General Manager of New Construction at Zillow, Owen Garrett. So this is a strategic partnership, and it's not the first partnership. Okay, so my mistake there. In May 2022, they announced Zillow's 3D home tours would also be shared on Redfin. So you're starting to see Zillow and Redfin do some partnering. Very interesting for the future, mostly of Redfin to me, what these partnerships might mean for the future. But it's super clear that any big movers right now are moving closer towards new construction over the next 12, 24 months. This partnership highlights that those are the opportunities in every single market. New construction and really home prices continue to stay strong despite where our dollar might be going. Fitch's U.S. credit downgrade today sparks some criticism along with unease, according to Bloomberg. So Fitch basically downgraded U.S. sovereign credit grade level from a AAA to AA plus. This move comes just 2 months after it warned the rating was under threat as lawmakers flirted with default by battling over raising the nation's debt limit. Okay, so what does this rating mean? Nothing. Okay, remember some of the banks if you ever watched the Big Short movie, they had AAA ratings like a week before just folding up. Okay, so this rating means absolutely nothing. Our ability to get our debt under control is important. We did not see, and Logan said this even on CNBC this morning, we did not see the 10-year it went up. It went up, but it didn't go out of control based off of this news, right? That's what we want to watch. That's what's going to be most important to the housing credit and to the affordability going forward. It did go up, but this chart here in Bloomberg shows that it's going up, but the dollar is dipping. So it's kind of just a moment in time. It's a reactionary today. Dollar is still going to be by far the reserve currency across the world until something else happens. I wouldn't put too much thought into that. I'd put way more thought into this. U.S. companies added 324,000 jobs in July. This blew out all expectations. So we're continuing to have a really strong job market, despite the fact that the economy is on uncertain grounds, despite the fact that we have the highest Fed interest rate in 22 years, despite the fact that we have 7% mortgage rates, despite the fact that employers have a harder time getting credit. We have very restrictive credit in this country. The job market continues to buck the trend of everything else that is going on. Payrolls at U.S. companies jumped in July, gained 324,000, exceeding all forecasts and underscoring a resilient job market. We know that the Fed is more likely to continue hikes if the job market continues to plow forward, and certainly if wage growth continues. That's kind of their last tool to fight inflation, is to fight the job market. But the job market doesn't care right now, and it continues to move forward. It's one of the biggest arguments that real estate professionals have. Not argument, because you're not arguing, but one of the biggest pieces of information that real estate agents and advisors should be using to consult home buyers. In a job market like we have, where we continue to exceed expectations on hiring and wage growth has come down, but it's still fairly strong historically speaking. In a market where we have low inventory, do you expect home prices to be up or down in the future? Of course, with some of these, variables, we would expect them to be up. So you're certainly buying below the next peak. Doesn't help affordability, right? Doesn't help this problem right here. How much can you afford as mortgage rates change? We need those rates to come down to really unlock the market. But this chart here will be down below in the daily download, and you can use the code HOT to get 10% off of BAMX. This shows you how hot these interest rates are. This shows the home price you could afford for different monthly payment amounts based on the mortgage interest rate. Assumes a 20% down 30-year mortgage, 1.25% property tax, and 0.5% homeowner home insurance rate, rather, and HOA dues. Okay, so a $3,500 payment at, we're at 3%, you could get a $700,000+ house. Today, at 6.81, you can get, just about a $500,000. It's a $200,000 difference. Yet we haven't seen these prices come down. This is incredible to just take a look at this and see where things have gone and how resilient home prices have been. It's because over 90% of homeowners think about this. Over 90% of homeowners have an interest rate on this side. So this is why I disagree with Logan a little bit, where it's like, yeah, I mean, these interest rates in here, it's a huge asset when we're currently in a market like this. I call it the money printing opportunity for Americans. I believe that is a true asset, and it's less about, well, I can't afford to go and move. Because remember, 42% of homeowners don't even have a mortgage. So they could afford to do anything they want, right? So I don't know. I mean, it's almost saying the same thing there, but anyways, that chart will be down below for you in the daily downloads. Because of that chart, we have a mortgage application 3-week decline now. For 3 straight weeks, mortgage applications decreased. This week, 3% from the week earlier. On an unadjusted basis, the index decreased 3% compared with the previous week. The refinance index decreased 3% from the previous week, was 32% lower than the same week a year ago. The seasonally adjusted purchase index decreased 3% from 1 week earlier. The unadjusted purchase index decreased 3% compared with the previous and was 26% lower than the same week 1 year ago. This shows me that a lot of people that want to come into the home market to become a buyer are just sitting on the sidelines because of these rates. Mortgage rates edged higher last week, with 30-year fixed mortgage rate increased to 6.93%, leading to another decline in overall applications. Joel Kahn, MBA, Vice President, Deputy Chief Economist. This is what real estate agents, real estate professionals overall, closing attorneys, title companies are going to be faced with over the next 9 months till we get back into the spring market. The work that will need to be put in from a professional standpoint over the next 9 months, it's going to have to be precise. It's going to be high conversations. It's going to be working 3 or 4x, the amount of work compared to the spring market to get the same results, because we just have less opportunity. Still plenty of opportunity. Those who wanted to be able to go out and grab it. We all want one thing when it comes to the 10-year, and it's one thing we're just not getting right now. That's the declining 10-year. With that Fitch rating, we see that the 10-year has indeed, like Bloomberg showed us on that chart, bumped up. We're at 4.086, so we're back up in that 4 range, kind of hanging out above 4. The 30-year yesterday, once again, did go up. 30-year fixed daily survey was 7.1. We've been sitting in the 7s for some time. I would expect the Freddie Mac 30-year fix to jump up on their weekly as well later in the week. They're sitting at 6.81. We'll get that read today's Wednesday. I think we'll get that read tomorrow, so we'll have it by the end of the week on that. Bobby, what are you typing here?
George Ratu, 10-year, 30-year, will be live today.
That'll be live on this channel or on
BAM.
All right, so on this channel, make sure you subscribe. We've got a George Ratu, former chief economist of Realtor.com, chief economist of Keeping Current Matters. We're clipping out from At Knowledge Brokers a video that'll go live on this channel where he explains the relationship between the 10-year and the 30-year and why that has been abnormal in the last year. So that explanation, it's a great thing to have in your tool belt to be able to explain to home sellers and buyers. That'll go up today. How long is that video? 2 p.m.
2 p.m.
It's like a 5-minute video. So quick little explanation there. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please consider doing so. If you want to join me in just a couple of few weeks here, August 22nd to the 24th in Dallas, I'll be at the Tom Ferry Summit, and we'll be hosting a BAM Bash on the 22nd. You should be a BAMX member if you want to get into that. BAMX membership also has a link below, and you can use the code HOT to get 10% off of that. If you want your Tom Ferry Summit ticket and $100 off of that, use code PRBAMSS to get your ticket into that. Hope to see you guys there. All BAMX members also have a link in our private group right now for our BAM camp, which is September 20th in Naples. So a lot going on here to set up the end of the year and start planning for 2024, which is going to be another grind it out year for real estate professionals. So you want to have clear focus and precision. That's what BAM Camp is going to be all about, setting up the end of the year and going into 24 strong. So right now, BAM Camp's only available to BAMX members. BAMX members get a 25% discount off of that. So if you're not a BAMX member yet, use the code HOT to get 10% off, and then that'll get you into the option for buying a BAM Camp ticket at 25% off. All right, that's the show here. Hope everybody has a great, productive Wednesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. And until then, of course, toodaloo.